What's up, Miles of CMF? Bill, good to see you as well. How you doing, brother? How you been? Evening, Miles of CMF. Jason, good to see you as well. How you doing? How you been? JP, good to see you as well, brother. How you been? Good evening, Miles of CMF. Let's go, JP. How you been, brother? Cass, good to see you as well. How you doing? Up, down, or sideways? Yes, I told you sideways. The market has been moving sideways slightly. I would still go sideways. Some assets are moving slightly up, some are moving slightly down, but the majority is sideways still. What's up, Miles, and what's up, CMF? Kerry, good to see you as well. How you doing? Lena, good to see you as well. How you doing? Lena, I'm doing the PDF to send it to you regarding the how to get your assets in the Tangent. I'm doing the PDF, and I should be finished very soon to send to you. Last day, I'm listening the live show and waiting. Last days, I'm listening the live show and waiting until the end of the lawsuit. Don't have any questions. Bill, hi Miles, you good? Butch, good to see you as well. How you doing, brother? How you been? Good evening, Miles and the CMF. I'm very bearish and I'm drinking a lot of the bears because of it. See you tomorrow. Sorry, Miles. No problem at all. See you tomorrow, same time as usual. Evening, Miles and CMF. Joe, good to see you as well. How you doing? Dennis, good to see you as well. How you doing? How you been? Great, thank you. How was your day? Extremely busy. Today was Father's Day, so I spent time with my father and my mother. But extremely busy day. Before that, I was getting some things sorted out in terms of phone calls, emails, and setting things up for tomorrow, essentially Monday. But then after that, essentially with my father and mother for Father's Days. How's your... Cal, good to see you, brother. How you been? Hi, Miles. Sometimes it's hard to get in with X. I've had 3 surveys before getting in. I think good to see you as well. Thanks, Lena. No problem. Good evening, Mal. Good evening, Professor Miles. Funky brother. Good to see you as well. How you doing? Good evening, CMF. Let's go. Hi, Miles. Can you send me the PDF on Tangent as well? Yes, Butch. No problem. You know what? I'll post it inside. I'll send it to you, Butch, as well. And I'll send it to Lena as well. But I'll post it inside the Telegram group as well, just in case anybody else wants to know how to move their assets to Tangent. Eid Mubarak, everyone. Yes, Eid Mubarak, everyone, and happy Father's Day as well. Evening, Miles of CMF. Manny, let's go. How you doing? George, good to see you as well. How you doing? Good evening, Miles and CMF. Orvin, good to see you as well. How you doing? How you been? So, I'll do a gist of what we're going to talk through on tonight's live show, and by that time, everyone's pretty much tuned in for the intro and after the disclaimer as well. Messi, good to see you as well. How you doing, brother? How you been? So, on tonight's live show, we are going to be talking about NiceHash and essentially Marathon Digital, where they've created something that people can use to create or essentially mine cryptocurrencies at home, is what Marathon Digital has done. We'll talk about that on tonight's live show. We're also going to be talking about the mining executives. They're launching a non-profit to educate US citizens on essentially blockchain technology. So Marathon Digital and all the big corporations that do Bitcoin minings are putting their profits together, some of their profits together, to create a non-profit essentially to teach people about cryptocurrencies inside the United States, which is a good venture to go through. Also, we're going to talk about on tonight's live show regarding the Oklahoma governor who signed essentially a bill exempting Bitcoin minings from sales tax. We're also going to talk about tonight's live show regarding BlackRock. BlackRock has given a perspective on the market space. We're also going to talk about Malaysia on tonight's live show as well, launching a new feature on how to find out who's not paying their crypto taxes. Once on this live show, I talked about South Korea and how South Korea can find out in 15 days if you haven't paid your crypto taxes just by using your phone number. Malaysia has came up with a strange way to find out if you haven't paid your crypto taxes. We'll go through that on tonight's live show as well. We're also going to talk about Apple and Render on tonight's live show as well. We're also going to be talking about Wall Street, essentially, and Tether's CEO or Tether's co-founder, essentially, on tonight's live show as well. We're going to be talking through on tonight's live show regarding South Korea and the delisting that's going on in South Korea. We're also going to talk about tonight's live show regarding AVAX. AVAX is going inside of real-world assets with Spain. We're also going to be talking about tonight's live show regarding the Biden administration. Sleepy Joe's administration is apparently joining a congressional leaders for Bitcoin roundtable. There's a Bitcoin roundtable happening in Washington, D.C. And apparently the Biden administration are going to be there as well. We're also going to be talking about tonight's live show regarding Ripple's CLO, giving his perspectives on an update that's happened on the Ripple case. We're also going to be talking about HSBC Bank extending into the digital yuan services and some other banks that are involved. We're also going to talk about on tonight's live show regarding Michael Saylor's perspective. Everybody that's a high profile executive has always given their perspective as what they believe Bitcoin can reach. Michael Saylor's perspective is a interesting one, definitely. We'll talk about on tonight's live show as well. We're also going to be talking about tonight's live show regarding the partnership that I recently talked about, which was Ripple and ArchX. And we're going to go into more detail of what they're actually going to be achieving. And we're also going to talk about Project Lindois, essentially from the Bank of International Settlements, regarding Italian banks and how far they've come regarding CBDCs, in terms of commercial CBDCs. So, we have CBDC news to go through, essentially Bank of International Settlements news to go through, partnership news to go through, real world asset news to go through on tonight's live show. Quite a mixture of news and some perspectives to go through as well. So, before we go through any of that, first of all, welcome to the CMF live show if you're watching us for the first time ever. On this live show, every single night, I go through the most recent news that's happening around the world in terms of cryptocurrencies, CBDCs, AI, and politics, because it all plays in the role together, a vital role for the world shifting into a digital era, starting this year essentially. And we also do Q&As as well, which means you ask the questions, I give you the answers, and the disclaimer of this live show, as always, is not financial advice, not political advice, and whatever I say is only for entertainment purposes. So if it's your first time watching, welcome to the CMF live show. If you're regular, let's go CMF. Now, before we go through the first news, which is regarding NiceHash and Marathon Digital launching a campaign together, let's go through the comment section first. Sorry about that. Where we were. Stormy, good to see you as well. Hey, Miles and CMF, happy Father's Day to all the fathers. Let's go, Stormy. Non-profit, yeah, okay, lol. Yes, obviously it's not. I mean, it is a non-profit on paper, but in reality, it's going to create customers for them later on. Pure, good to see you as well. How you doing? Evening. Coin, good to see you as well. How you doing? The best show and the best host. Messi, thanks so much for the kind words, brother. Let's go. So, NiceHash is the first news we're going to go from tonight's live show. Now, NiceHash is basically a crypto mining platform that anybody can download on their PCs, for example, and mine cryptocurrencies. Now, NiceHash and Marathon Digital, which is one of the biggest Bitcoin mining corporations out there, have launched a new firmware for home miners. So if you were the type of person that you always wanted to get involved in Bitcoin mining, well, NiceHash and Marathon Digital are coming together to launch a platform where you can start mining cryptocurrencies at home. Cloud crypto mining platform NiceHash introduced a new firmware product developed in collaboration with Marathon Digital. The new firmware, branded as NiceHash firmware powered by Mara, makes Marathon Digital's advanced mining technology accessible to retail and home miners, according to Cointelegraph. Marathon Digital, the world's largest Bitcoin miner by market cap, has mined 390 BTC in May. The new firmware combines features from both companies to enhance performance and profitability for miners of all sizes. Users pay a fee of 2% or 1.4% when using the NiceHash pool. The NiceHash firmware is compatible with various ASIC mining machines, models, and management tools. It supports multiple algorithms and can switch between them as their efficiencies vary. Features include auto-tuning, temperature control, and a mobile app for remote ASIC managements. This collaboration comes in increasing scrutiny of crypto mining's impact on energy consumption. Bitcoin mining's profitability has been closely watched since the April halving, which reduced miners' profits per the block by 50%. Former President Donald Trump has expressed support for the US crypto mining industries despite their doubts about what's going on inside right now regarding Joe Biden's tax situation on Bitcoin mining. But in addition to the software and mining services, NiceHash operates a hash rate market. Here, ASIC owners can sell their hashing power for any coin NiceHash supports. The buyer receives the reward for the block mined, while the seller is paid the average price of all the orders in the NiceHash pool, reducing the seller's risk. This partnership between NiceHash and Marathon Digital aims to show access to advanced mining technologies benefiting the broader range of Bitcoin miners or any type of cryptocurrency miner. As an industry face regulatory challenges and evolving market conditions, innovations like this could help sustain its growth and essentially profitability. So, if you're thinking about mining cryptocurrencies at home using a computer that you're preferably not using, you can go to essentially NiceHash. NiceHash is a huge platform, but now they have a massive partnership with Marathon Digital, which is also a massive Bitcoin mining corporation. So they're trying to get more people in the retail section involved in Bitcoin mining or in general cryptocurrency mining with these two giants coming together. Now, the next news to go through on tonight's live show is mining executives, Bitcoin mining executives, are coming together to launch a non-profit to educate US crypto voters. Hello, Miles and family. Anna, good to see you. How you doing? How you been? So, executives from the major US cryptocurrency mining companies have launched a non-profit organization to educate voters on the Bitcoin, essentially voter project, described as, and it aims to inform voters about cryptocurrencies and support for pro-digital asset lawmakers, according to Cointelegraph. Jason Broder, the Marathon Digital Holdings SVP of Government Affairs, revealed that executives from Riot Platforms and CleanSpark formed the project's board. Unlike political action committees, essentially, the 501(c)(a organization cannot primarily support one candidate or a party. The launch followed a meeting between Marathon CleanSpark, TerraWolf, Riot representatives, and former President Donald Trump, who expressed strong support for the US Bitcoin minings. Proda essentially emphasized the project as a long planned and is intended to precede the 2024 presidential elections. This organization aims to engage the educated voters unfamiliar with Bitcoin, eventually supporting lawmakers and policies in Congress. With $5 million allocated for the research and voter education, the project aims to turn these voters out to support the candidates that support digital assets. Unlike Coinbase, who stands with CryptoPac, the Bitcoin Voter Project currently does not endorse specific candidates or legislations, despite single-use crypto voters like being a minority in the 2024 election. For example, if you're the type of voter who don't know who to vote for still, in that essentially in that aspect, the potential impact is significant. In a key swing states, an issue influencing tens of thousands of voters could alter elections outcomes. Representatives from the Chamber of Digital Commerce and the Texas Blockchain Council have expressed support for the Bitcoin Voter Project, which has already gathered hundreds of sign-ups. So, huge Bitcoin mining corporations are coming together again and essentially trying to teach and educate people inside the United States regarding Bitcoin and how to mine Bitcoin, what is Bitcoin, how to use Bitcoin, and why people should be looking in general in terms of cryptocurrencies to get more voters in. As if that matters. Whoever's chosen as president is chosen as president. Votes don't really count. Unless we have a fair election where the votes are on blockchain, which was actually an idea that came from Charles, which is the founder of Cardano project, suggested a very good idea, which was to make voting on the blockchain so it's public and nobody can cheat. Then we can say yes, we actually have a voting system where it's genuinely public and the people have spoken. But the voting system we have now, it could be manipulated easily. So whoever's chosen is chosen. Your votes don't really matter. Now, Oklahoma government, essentially, why do I keep on saying government? It's governor. Oklahoma governor signs a bill exempting Bitcoin, essentially minings, from sales taxes. The Oklahoma governor, Kevin, has signed a groundbreaking bill exempting Bitcoin miners from electricity sales tax. This move positions Oklahoma as a leader in the US Bitcoin mining sector. The bill, named essentially HB 1600, grants Oklahoma the nation's most affordable power rates for Bitcoin mining, aiming to attract major mining companies to the state. The Oklahoma Bitcoin Association praised the bill, emphasizing its potential to revolutionize power and its essentially potential to revolutionize power purchasing and optimize the power grid. In May 2024, Oklahoma also passed the HB 3594, which I revealed on this live show a while ago, protecting cryptocurrency rights and preventing additional taxes on crypto transactions. Oklahoma in general is going against the Biden administration completely. Oklahoma is coming out and saying, you have the right to hold your own crypto assets, self custody. We're not going to be taxing in terms of Bitcoin mining and so on, which is completely the opposite of what Joe Biden or sleazy Joe Biden wants, which is to tax everybody into the living hell. And even the Bitcoin corporations and the idea of self custody with Joe Biden in place, not possible. Now, the US aims to become the leading Bitcoin mining nation, with the former President Donald Trump also promising to advocate for the industry if elected. The Oklahoma bill shows that the nation's efforts to support Bitcoin mining aimed increasing regulatory scrutiny. China is ironically very silent, also still doing Bitcoin mining as well, which I revealed once on this live show as well. But yeah, Oklahoma essentially has passed another bill. There's a lot of innovation happening in Oklahoma. A lot of innovation happening, ironically, in Oklahoma, rather than any other state or so on inside the United States, where they've passed multiple bills. Full-on bills have been passed in Oklahoma in terms of self-custody, in terms of stakings, in terms of doing transactions, in terms of Bitcoin mining. What's going on with New York and everybody else? Well, I mean, the easiest answer would be there are a lot more politicians in New York, which means a lot more people's pockets you have to fill up before you get an answer from in Oklahoma. And I'm guessing there ain't that many politicians that are greedy compared to the other states. Well, Gary, and it's also the number one thing as well regarding, somebody asked me once, why does it take so long for anything to pass inside the United States? And my answer was to that question that, for example, in the UK, we have, the party that we choose and then the prime minister, and that's it. In the United States, because every state has a voice and every state has about 30 to 40 to 50 politicians pretty much that want a piece of the pie, it becomes quite chaotic. And that's why things move a lot more slow inside the United States. The United States is feeding too many useless politicians. If you, cut the amount of politicians you have inside the United States, it would be the best thing the United States ever done in their entire lifetimes. The United States has too many, regarding the states, they have too many politicians within each state, which makes it even worse. You have too many politicians that are absolutely useless and wasting everybody's time. That's why nothing gets easily passed inside the United States, because everybody has a voice and there's too many politicians. You should do what essentially El Salvador did. When he came into power, everybody criticized El Salvador and said, well, Argentina, this process is not going to make it very far. He's cutting all the politicians out. He won't make it too far. Their country's doing quite well, actually. Very well. He cut about 90% of the politicians out because they were all useless. Now, the next news to go for on tonight's live show. BlackRock's official makes a new statement on Bitcoin. Will Gary be going to these classes? Will Gary Gensler go into the Bitcoin classes? Well, we have to see. Now, BlackRock makes an official, essentially, statement on Bitcoin. The highly anticipated Bitcoin exchange traded funds ETFs, which launched in January, have seen slow but steady adoption among financial advisors. According to Cohen, the BlackRock's chief investment officer of ETFs and index investments, that's one hell of a title to have, speaking at the Coinbase State of Crypto Summit in New York, Cohen explained the approximately 80% of Bitcoin ETF purchases are made by self-directed investors. Likely through online brokerage accounts, iShares Bitcoin Trust IBIT was among the funds launched earlier this year. Cohen noted that the hedge funds and brokerage firms are also active buyers, as evidenced by the 13F filings. Finally, somebody inside of, BlackRock or Fidelity or so on has finally came out and spoke about the 13F filings. Because for the longest time, the ideology inside the crypto space, influencer space, was the retail section is the one pushing the Bitcoin ETFs. And I've always said, no, it isn't. It's not the retail section pushing the Bitcoin ETFs. It never was. It was the actual corporations, because of the 13F filings that I keep on mentioning. 937 corporations have filed in with the SEC regarding the 13F filings, showing they have Bitcoin ETFs. That was the reason regarding Bitcoin ETFs and Bitcoin reaching new heights, not because the retail section was going for BTC ETFs. So finally, somebody has mentioned it, and the person that's mentioned it finally is somebody from BlackRock. So Cohen noted that the hedge funds and brokerage firms are also active buyers, as evidenced by the 13F filings. However, registered investment advisors have become more cautious in their approach as well. I would call them cautious. That's their job, Cohen said, of a skeptical financial advisor. An investment advisor is trustworthy to their clients. This is an asset class that has had a 90% price volatility at times in history, and their job is really to build portfolios, do risk analysis, and due diligence. That's what they're doing right now. Cohen stated that at this moment in time, it is important in terms of presenting important data, risk analysis, and determining the role of Bitcoin can play in a portfolio. That's what a consultant is supposed to do. So I think this journey we're on is exactly the right journey that they're doing essentially right now, their job. Cohen sees Bitcoin ETFs as a bridge between crypto and traditional finance, especially for investors who want to allocate their risk to BTC without having to manage their risk across two different ecosystems. He noted that before the launch of ETFs existing, bridges to crypto were inadequate for some investors' needs, as in not having close access, not having easy access to BTC beforehand, obviously. But yeah, BlackRock, somebody from BlackRock has finally came out and spoke about it regarding who's actually inside the BTC ETFs. It's the corporations. And it's according to the 13F filings, which I've mentioned multiple times, and now being mentioned by Cohen. And Cohen essentially is BlackRock's chief investment officer of ETFs and index investments. So, in his perspective, we're still going to get momentum. We're going to get a lot more momentum going through, because the ETFs are opening up still more doors and so on. And there are a lot more corporations in play as well. As I've said previously as well, we have more corporations inside the crypto space than ever before. We have more banks than ever before. We have regulations than ever before. We have more politicians inside the space than ever before as well. More partnerships happening, more contracts, more licensing, more of everything inside the corporate sector, in the crypto sector than ever before. Now, the next news to go through on tonight's live show is an interesting one. It's a tactic that the Malaysian government is using to find out who's not paying their crypto taxes. Now, I've read multiple different versions of, different jurisdictions trying to find out who hasn't paid their crypto taxes. For example, I shared the news once on this live show that South Korea can use people's phone numbers in South Korea. Just by using their phone number, the government can find out if you've paid your crypto taxes or not. Just by using your phone number, within 15 days, they can find out. Before that, it took them 6 months. And then I read, obviously the Australian approach and the UK approach, which was self-snitching. So in the UK, if you haven't paid your crypto taxes, you have to admit that to yourself. You have to come out and say, I haven't paid my crypto taxes. And some of the governments took different approaches. Malaysia has taken a very interesting approach on finding out who hasn't paid their crypto taxes, which we're going to go through that right now on tonight's live show. So Malaysia the name is quite interesting as well. Malaysia has launched OPS token. Genuinely, it's called OPS token, OPS token, to tackle crypto tax evasion. The Inland Revenue Board, IRB of Malaysia, has initiated a special operation named OPS token to tackle crypto tax evasion and enhance overall tax administration in the country. The IRB Malaysia wages war against crypto tax evasions. According to sources, the Inland Revenue Board of the IRB of Malaysia has joined forces with the Royal Malaysia Police and Cybersecurity Malaysia (CSM) to launch an operation involving 38 personnel across 10 locations in the Kong Valley. Per reports, the value of cryptocurrency transactions in Malaysia this year is estimated. Now, this is ridiculous. The amount of cryptocurrencies processed in Malaysia is something that nobody will be able to guess. If I told you how much in terms of dollars, US dollars, do you think has been processed in Malaysia in terms of cryptocurrencies, nobody will get this. So, per the reports, the value of cryptocurrency transactions in Malaysia this year is estimated at RM 1.4 trillion Malaysian currencies. In dollars, $340 billion has been processed in Malaysia in terms of cryptocurrencies. That's definitely something going on there in terms of AML. And during the ops token operation, the IRB essentially the IRB accessed cryptocurrency trading data and stored on mobile devices and computers, enabling them to trace digital assets traded and accessed associated with profits. So the ops token somehow is a type of a platform that gets installed on essentially gets access to cryptocurrency trading data stored on mobile devices and computers, and it enables them to trace the digital assets traded and associated with the profit taking. The team says it's uncovered instances where entities were established solely for cryptocurrency transactions to evade tax obligations. This is already in process in Malaysia, Ops token. The tax authority has clarified that the gathered data will undergo detailed analysis to determine the value of cryptocurrency assets traded and the profits generated. This process aims to reveal the exact tax of evasions previously undisclosed to the IRB. Commenting on the latest developments, the CEO of Ducato essentially stated that individuals who engage in cryptocurrency trading in Malaysia must comply with the income tax regulations. He has urged all parties involved in such activities to declare their taxes promptly at the nearest IRB office to avoid potential compliance and penalties. The execution of this operation aims to boost the nation's revenue by essentially minimizing tax evasions and improving tax efficiency, thereby bolstering the sustainability of Malaysia revenue collection efforts, the team says. So, this is Malaysia's plan to find out if you haven't paid your crypto taxes or not. Now, some of these steps can be, implemented in other jurisdictions as well. What South Korea came out with the phone number situation, where they can find out if you haven't paid your crypto taxes just by your phone number within 15 days. And South Korea, Malaysia's approach regarding ops token, that's going to be, it's already in progress in some state, in some sort of manner. But where if it gets installed on your phone, the government can find out if you haven't paid your crypto taxes. It traces all your profitability as well. Yeah, the extent governments will go so you don't skip on taxes is interesting to see inside the crypto space. Now, the next news to go from tonight's live show is regarding Apple and Render. But before we go through that, let's go inside the comment section first. Too many snakes. We're going politicians, yeah, we're going states. What up, Miles and family? Hope all is well though. Ray, good to see you, brother. How you doing? How you been? Sorry, one sec. That literally came out of nowhere. Apologies, everyone. Whoa. If the lawsuit ends this year, I'm going to name my new kid to Miles. If the lawsuit ends this year, you're going to name your new kid, Miles. Let's go, Messi. Happy Pisces. Good to see you as well. How you doing? How you been? So, Apple and Render. Apple's new iPad Pro, puts Render, RNDR crypto project, in the AI crypto spotlight. Render's networks of decentralized GPU power enables Octane X on the iPad to offer Hollywood-grade computer-generated imagery CGI capabilities. This integration marks a significant milestone for Render, showcasing its technology on one of the most popular consumer electronic platforms. Millions of Apple users now have the ability to tap into unprecedented rendering power, enhancing digital content creation. Octane X was featured in Apple's Keystone Apple users and argument on the massive increase in rendering power on the M4 chip that Apple has, with access to near unlimited high-performance decentralized GPU computing power on Render Network using Octane X. Render Network stated this. This collaboration signals Apple's endorsements of Render's technology, potentially drawing a new wave of developers and creators to the network. The integration is a strategic win for Render. It validates its vision and technology, indicating that a major player like Apple recognizes the value of decentralized rendering solutions. This could significantly expand Render's user base and increase their demand for their services, ultimately driving up the value of Render token eventually. Render's network offers a decentralized platform for GPU. Connecting artists with GPU owners who have unused capacities, this model creates a new revenue stream for GPU owners while providing artists with affordable, scalable rendering powers. This also aims to support next generation digital rights management, artificial intelligence, and virtual assets like NFTs. The render network allows us to render 12K high resolution, high sample counts, multiple passes in a very short amount of time that would otherwise take months to render on a single GPU, said Alex, the senior creative technologist at the Lightsail VR shared. With the combination of Apple's vast user base and Render's network's advanced technology, Render's future looks promising. Yes, as long as Apple keeps on using Render in their processing, essentially for their image processing, Render should do quite pretty well. In terms of is it going to raise the value of Render overnight? Definitely not. Is it going to raise it eventually? Sure, as long as they keep on using Render and don't find an alternative partner. All the best to Render and everyone else who's holding Render as well in terms of that crypto project. Bless you. Orphan, thank you so much for coming. Thank you. Wall Street is the next news we're going to go from tonight's live show. Wall Street is greedy, which is all facts. Now, this perspective is coming from Tether's co-founder. So Tether's co-founder essentially predicts that the next ETFs after Bitcoin and Ethereum. So he said, don't expect crypto ETF momentum to slow down after the approvals of the spot Bitcoin and Ethereum funds inside the United States. Wall Street greed will bring more and more such products, which is facts. Wall Street is built upon greed. It's the only reason it exists. Tether and Wax co-founder William essentially had a conversation with Decrypt, and he predicted that ETFs for the other leading cryptocurrencies like Solana. Now, before I share you what ETFs the co-founder of Tether is suggesting is next, is an interesting one, because he's suggesting that the next ETFs are going to be Solana and Cardano. Now, some people might not be surprised when he said Solana is the next ETF after Ethereum and Bitcoin, because Solana has been mentioned quite a lot. Some people might be surprised on why he said Cardano and not something else. AVAX, for example, or XRP, or so on, in terms of an ETF. That could be due to Tether's co-founders are not fond of Ripple. Tether and Ripple do not get along. And this argument between Tether and Ripple started when Brad said on an interview that Tether has been looked into by, the US government. And Tether's CEO came out and said, essentially, why are you spreading lies? Nobody's looking into us. And that's where the argument started from. So if you're wondering, why hasn't Tether's CEO mentioned Solana and XRP? Because to be fair, Nicholas essentially mentioned some other aspects as well regarding what's going to be next. And he said, there could be Solana, XRP, and some other tokens in terms of ETFs, but also a few other perspectives of high-profile analysts from Goldman Sachs also said this could be next, Solana, XRP, and so on. But then you have Tether's co-founder saying the next ETFs after Bitcoin and Ethereum are going to be Solana and Cardano. He's just a bit bitter. But he goes on to say, Wall Street is greedy. He said, every time Wall Street packages a new product to sell to consumers, if that product is successful, you can guarantee there will be copycats. There would be no ETFs if the Bitcoin ETF had failed, which is facts. If the Bitcoin ETF failed, there would generally be no other ETFs following it right after. Wall Street wouldn't even think about twice of testing another ETF if the Bitcoin ETF failed. He added that Wall Street loves the next hot new thing because it's something it can talk to its consumers about and sell their products. But should the momentum eventually cool down, he expects that the ETF providers will shift focus to the next big trend. He goes on to say, we will continue to see the new ETFs launching until there's a big pullback, he added. Then you'll see some of those ETFs shut down by the firms who launched them due to a lack of demand. The SEC has essentially long awaited approval of the spot Bitcoin ETFs, inside the United States in January marked a significant milestone in integrating cryptocurrencies into the mainstream financial markets. They allow investors to gain exposure to Bitcoin without directly holding the cryptocurrency, thus providing a more accessible and regulated investment vehicle. This approval sparked a significant interest in the investment inflows, highlighting the growing acceptance and institutional interest in digital assets. The success of the Bitcoin ETFs has paved the way for a further crypto-related financial products, and the market has been keenly awaiting similar developments for other such products. And he also goes on to say, I was happy with crypto without Wall Street. He said, would it be smaller? Of course. But I didn't feel the need to keep growing the size of crypto now. What an absolute load of BS coming from the founder of Tether. The founder of Tether, in one statement, has said, I was happy with crypto without Wall Street. So he's happy that Wall Street and the corporates are not in, that weren't in the past in crypto. So he was happy that, Wall Street and the corporates are not coming for crypto. And then he said, would it be smaller? Of course. That part is true. But the beginning part is complete BS. Him saying, he's happier with Wall Street and corporates not in crypto. Because yesterday, he was tooting a different tune. Yesterday, the co-founders of Tether were angry that a Forbes article came out and said nobody is using from the corporate section stable coins in terms of USDT. And then Tether's co-founders came out and said, there are a lot of corporations, 300 million users. I mean, we have 300 million users using USDT. Corporations are using USDT and so on. So they were angry at a Forbes article for mentioning nobody from the corporate sector is using stablecoins except the retail section. And then today he's coming, this was yesterday. Today, the co-founders of Tether are coming out and saying, I was happy with crypto without Wall Street. Yeah, we could definitely see that since yesterday's article, where you were angry at a Forbes article for mentioning nobody from the corporate section is using USDT. Yeah, we could definitely tell you're definitely happy without the Wall Streets and the corporates. And then, the part where he goes, it will be smaller, of course. Well, that's a given. Corporate money is completely different to retail money. There's a lot more of it. And he said, but I didn't feel the need to keep growing the size of crypto. You didn't feel the need to keep on growing. Tether's co-founders yesterday genuinely wrote an article that said we have 300 million users using USDT. How can Forbes say nobody's using stablecoins or you? I mean, they're absolutely full of BS. They sang a different tune yesterday, now they're singing a different tune today. He warned that Wall Street's aggressive marketing of crypto products could lead to a significant risk, especially if institutional investors pull out during the market downturns. Despite his reservations about Wall Street's involvements, he also acknowledged that the significant capital influx is essential for substantial market growth. If you want a massive amount of capital, then yes, you have to do things like ETFs, he conceded. You could have just said that from the beginning instead of mentioning absolute spews of BS. In terms of we don't need it, I don't need it. What happened to your article yesterday? 300 million users are using USDT. How can Forbes say this? Now, crypto tokens is the next news we're going to go from tonight's live show. Crypto tokens facing delisting nightmare in South Korea. There's a lot of delistings going on right now in South Korea, which is basically a nightmare for quite a lot of people inside, because the number one question you always get is one of the number one questions you always get inside the crypto sector is essentially, will there be delists happening? The more we move into regulations, a lot of projects, essentially going to get delisted inside the crypto space. People ask me all the time, are meme coins are going to get delisted when we go into regulations, or some AI projects, or some Web3 projects, or some data projects? Who's going to be, the last people standing in terms of projects after the regulation and so on? Now, there's a massive delisting happening in South Korea. Quite a lot, actually. Roughly 600 cryptocurrencies are being assessed of virtually might be delisted. Massive things happening to South Korea. We're going to go through that as well. And also, other jurisdictions will follow in suit in terms of delisting. I mean, the EU is launching the MiC regulations, and they've already delisted privacy tokens for the EU citizens, and they're delisting stablecoins that are uncompliant. So the idea of delisting isn't just for South Korean citizens; it's pretty much worldwide. Because the EU is doing, Canada's already did delistings as well. In terms of what, for example, if you live in the UK, you might have a certain set of cryptocurrencies available to you. But if you live in Canada, you would have the same exchange offering you different cryptocurrencies. Hey Miles, how you doing? Is Apple also have a contract with XRP for payments? Yes, that is true. Apple does have a contract with Ripple that happened a very long time ago in terms of payments. Yes. Hi everyone, how you doing, Ripple? Will you be mining any BTC at home? Will I be mining any cryptocurrency at home? I won't be mining BTC. The only token that I am mining at home still, and I'm using old phones that I don't use anymore in terms of Android phones or so on, is XLA. Is the only token I'm mining that I've been mining for over a year now. And yeah, it's the easiest cryptocurrency to mine, XLA. It's not like Pi or the rest of the cryptocurrencies. It's genuinely using the phones. Not saying there's anything wrong with Pi or any other cryptocurrency, but it's genuinely using the phone's RAM, its battery, and everything to mine the cryptocurrency itself. But yeah, XLA privacy token, to me, it's an alternative to Monero. Amazing team behind it. I mean, they've been going on for about 4 to 5 years. I mean, XLA exists for 4 to 5 years. You can mine XLA and sell it on a crypto exchange as well. So that's the only cryptocurrency I've always been mining. I just leave it on the silence to mine with the phones that I'm not using anymore. I just pulled them out of their straw, dusted them off, plugged them back into charge, downloaded the mining app, just let it mine on the phones. And it sends it straight to my cold wallet, the cryptocurrencies mines. Miles, happy Father's Day. Ripple, let's go. I believe there will be less than 1,000 crypto projects that are regulated by 2027. Good on the timeline. And 1,000 crypto projects will be regulated by 2027. And by then, if it's not regulated, it cannot operate. I agree. If a particular crypto project is not regulated by then, 2027, yeah, it definitely can't operate without a doubt. I mean, Tether can't operate in the EU by now for some exchanges due to the MICA. So by 2027, yeah, if you're not regulated as a crypto project by 2027, you're pretty much out the door. But that's when the DeFi section essentially comes in through. But then those projects will lose momentum, so it's about the volume that's coming in. That won't be much. Now, crypto tokens. Crypto tokens facing delisting nightmare in South Korea. According to a report by the Korean Times, South Korean cryptocurrency exchanges are set to reassess the listing status of roughly 600 cryptocurrencies. As a part of a revaluation process, the exchanges are supposed to task their in-house decision-making bodies with determining what digital assets could potentially face delistings. 600 crypto projects that are actively on crypto exchanges, not random 600 projects, but 600 crypto projects that are actively trading in South Korea on prominent crypto exchanges are being reassessed. Potential delisting decisions will be made based on such factors as the state of the developer team behind the token, the level of security, as well as regulatory compliance. Such reassessments will have to be conducted every 6 months according to the new requirements. So crypto projects in South Korea are going to go through crypto projects in South Korea are going to be reassessed every 6 months. Every 6 months, the South Korean government essentially is going to say, are these crypto projects, keeping to their words? Do they still have high security? Have they been compromised? Are they doing pump and dumps and so on? That's crazy to think about it. But I like the security feature about it as well. Wouldn't you like to know if the crypto projects you're invested in is sticking to their words? Essentially, their team is, whatever they're saying they're going to provide, they're providing in terms of the value they're trying to bring to the table, in terms of getting contracts, in terms of building things on the network. And every 6 months, crypto projects are going to be reassessed in South Korea according to new legislations coming in to make sure crypto projects are always en route and they're not going sideways in terms of that aspect. So potentially delistings and decisions will be made based on such factors of the state of developer team behind the token, the level of security, as well as regulatory compliance. And such reassessments will have to be conducted every 6 months according to new requirements. The Regulation Asia reported that the Financial Services Commission, FSC, the top financial regulator of the South Korean government, is on track to set up a dedicated essentially division for cryptocurrencies. The FSC has also issued new guidelines for the NFT tokens in order to ensure regulatory clarity as well. The recent developments come aimed the background of the heightened interest in cryptocurrencies trading in South Korea, and the Korean won managed to surpass the US dollar by total crypto trading volume in the first quarter of 2024. Meanwhile, local politicians from different parties were busy pandering to cryptocurrency voters during the recent parliamentary election. During the peak of South Korean altcoin frenzy that took place on March 5th, the daily trading volume of Upbit, the local crypto exchange leader, surged as high as $15 billion during voting season in South Korea. Last year, the Bank of Korea governor Ri Chong also stressed the necessities of introducing a central bank digital currency CBDC aimed at the growing popularity of stablecoins. So that is what's happening in South Korea. Could that, level of scrutiny be happening in other jurisdictions as well? Probably, but is that level of scrutiny bad for a crypto project? No. I think the idea of, keep on making sure that crypto projects are on route and they're not wasting people's times in terms of investments and being reassessed every 6 months might not be a bad idea. Because there's a lot of projects out there that say, we're going to do, in terms of real world assets, we're going to do real world assets, we're going to do contracts, we're getting licensings, and they're doing absolutely nothing. And people are investing into it and nothing happens. Well, if these crypto projects are going to get, looked into every 6 months to make sure they're en route, might not be a bad idea. Genuinely might not be a bad idea to make sure those crypto projects that people are investing their hard-earned money to are actually en route, and that if they're saying they're going to go into real world assets and they're going to be building applications on iOS and Android and so on, every 6 months they look into them, go, okay, yep, you said you're going to do this and you're doing this, you're building this, okay, you're getting this license and so on. Might not be a bad idea. There's too many crypto projects out there who claim to do real world assets, and they're doing massive contracts and they have all these partnerships. There's a lot of crypto projects that lie about their partnerships as well. They just put JPEG logos from Google and say, yes, we work with these companies. In reality, they don't. So the idea of looking into it every 6 months might not be a bad idea. It would also discourage scammers from creating crypto projects. Now, does a delisting mean we will not be able to cash out? Yes and no. So if a crypto project does get delisted and you do hold that crypto project, you can delist it in the DeFi space, but you will have to see if there's liquidity. How you can check if a crypto project has liquidity is very easy. You take the crypto project's contract, you go to Dex Tracker, you paste it in, and it'll show you what the liquidity of that crypto project is. It'll also show you where it is that you can set it as well, in terms of what place in the DeFi space. I have 1% of meme coins because I can, and little to lose. Why not? Hope you do very well. I've always said this, if you are holding meme coins, I hope you do very well in life. I hope everyone does well in crypto. I hope every single person makes a lot of money if you're inside the crypto space. So regarding delisting your DeFi space, take the contract, go to the Dex Tracker and see who lists it and what the liquidities are. Now, Miles, with all due respect, is there really a future for privacy coins as most governments are shutting them down? The future regarding privacy coins is going to be there. Privacy coins might not operate on crypto exchanges, but it's not just about the crypto exchanges. It's also about the DeFi space, where the privacy coins will start to thrive. I'll give it to you like this: the more we go into a digital future, the more we get regulations, the more we get CBDCs pushed down our throats and CBDC wallets and so on. That is when some people start waking up to privacy coins at that particular moment in time. So think of it like this: the more we go into inflation, the more people will run towards cryptocurrencies. The more we go into CBDCs, the more people will start to wake up and go towards privacy tokens as well. Because, in terms of freedom wise, CBDCs, no freedom. Cryptocurrencies, you have freedom. Privacy coins, ultimate freedom in the digital world. So the more we go towards inflation, the more people run towards cryptocurrencies to hedge against inflation. The more we go into CBDCs, the more people will run towards privacy coins to hedge against CBDCs, because people want privacy in a digital world. Now, that also does depend on if people have, if there's a way for people to get on CBD, if there's a way for people to get onto privacy coins and so on through the DeFi space, because privacy coins, are only going to be operating inside the DeFi space, which is basically is what Camel just said. Privacy coins will be today's, black market essential version of it. Is basically what privacy coins will become. So are they going to have value? Yes. Privacy coins are going to have value in a different market space. But value is value. It goes in terms of money is money. And it's an English saying. Money is money land. Basically, still holds value. Now, is it something that you should be really going towards? You could just go towards, the financial sector instead, XRP, XLM, XDC, ACH, and so on. You'd be better off holding those types of projects going forward in a CBDC world. As I've said previously, there's a lot of crypto projects doing AI, so there's competition. Web3, there's competition there in terms of crypto projects. Data, there's a lot of competition there as well. Gaming, there's a lot of competition. But there's only one project doing CBDCs, which is Ripple. There's no competition for Ripple in terms of CBDCs at all. It's the only one with a CBDC platform actually been implemented in a few island countries and so on. So, preferably go for the financial backbones. If you really want to go for the privacy on the side. Small amount, not huge at all. Not financial advice in any sort of way. So, hi Pisces, in terms of, in dual respect, is there really a future for privacy coins? On a different type of market space, there's definitely going to be on a different type of market space, there's definitely going to be value for privacy coins. But on the main market space that everybody gets to see, no. I'm starting to understand the market more and more. Let's go, Camel. Who is Ton's competitor? Who is Ton's competition? Ton's competition is Solana. Somebody asked me a question as well. Also, a while ago, I think it was Camel as well, if I'm not mistaken. Is Ton a competition to Solana? And I said, hell yes. Hell yes. Ton's definitely a competitor to Solana. A lot of people say Ethereum and Solana's the Ethereum killer. I would say no. Instead, I would say Ton is the biggest competition for Solana. Because Solana is this, retail project, for example, of meme coins. Ton is starting to go inside the meme coin category. Now, the difference, essentially, the edge that Ton has against Solana, a lot of people might say, well, Solana's price is so much more higher, price action is better, and Ton's not that high up. Ton started from number 50, it's in top 10 now, by the way, and Ton is by Telegram. I'm not saying that you don't know this, Stormy, just in general. Ton is with Telegram. It's Telegram's official chain. 900 million users is what Ton has. 900 million users. Solana would dream of having 900 million users. Just from perspective. Ton's competitor is definitely Solana in terms of the retail section, because that's what Telegram is as well. Telegram's for the retail section, It's a messaging app that's going to eventually become an everything app. Is what Telegram's aiming for. The more Telegram goes towards an everything app, the more Telegram starts shifting into an everything app, the higher the value of Ton will get. So Ton is a massive competitor to Solana. It's competitor to Solana that most people will never see coming. Honestly, Ton is a massive competitor to Solana that most people won't see coming inside the crypto space. 900 million users are on Telegram. And Ton is their only blockchain, official blockchain, that was actually built by Telegram themselves. They dropped it because they were about to get sued by the SEC. And then later on, was picked up by a few random developers. And then Telegram partnered with the project they built. And that's their loophole to not get sued. 900 million users. I'm telling you right now, Solana would dream of having 900 million users. Let me put it like this. Binance recently celebrated, what was it, 200 million users Binance reached? I'll give it another perspective. Tether, number one stablecoin. without a doubt, USDT is the #1 stablecoin. They are doing volumes, USDT. They have more volumes, even though some of it is bots, but they have more volumes than MasterCard, okay? Tether USDT has done more volumes than MasterCard, and they only have 300 million users. Tether USDT was ecstatic. They were tweeting about it. We have 300 million users. This is absolutely amazing. 300 million users. Telegram, 900 million users. That's what I'm saying. Imagine the capability of what Ton can do. Binance was celebrating a few days ago. We reached 200 million users. This is absolutely amazing. 900 million users, Telegram. There's a big difference. That's why I said Solana would dream of having 900 million users. Yeah, Ton is massive competitor. TON, massive competitor to Solana. And Solana has crashed 11 times. Ton never crashed. Ton is faster, cheaper, and it doesn't get congested. And it has 900 million users. But if you are holding Solana, I still hope you do extremely well in life. Nothing against anybody holding Solana, just stating the obvious in terms of who has the most amount of users going through it in the long period of time. But I hope you do very well if you're holding Solana as well. Hope you do amazing in life, make a lot of money for yourself. I'm starting to, I have read on X that if the judge ruled for a restriction on institutional sales, Ripple could no longer sell XRP at reduced prices, therefore pushing the price up. So this, what we want the ruling to be. John, regarding if the judge says that, for example, Ripple is not allowed to sell XRP to institutions anymore, that would only apply to the United States, not worldwide. Ripple doesn't directly sell XRP through Ripple US. Ripple sells XRP to institutions through their subsidiary in Singapore under the authority of the MAS, which is the Singapore authority of Singapore, essentially. So, if the judge did rule and say, for example, Ripple's not allowed to sell XRP to institutions, that wouldn't really much matter. That wouldn't matter at all, because Ripple doesn't sell it directly through US Ripple. They sell it through Singapore Ripple under their authority. So that wouldn't matter at all. Thank you. Stormy, no problem, anytime. Looking into projects every 6 months is because of tax purposes, not to protect people. If they pay taxes, they can operate even if the pump is a dump. No, I'll tell you what part is wrong. So looking into projects every 6 months is because of tax purposes, not to protect people. If they pay taxes, they can operate even if there's a pump and dump. No, because governments don't need to look into projects to see if you haven't paid your taxes. Governments look into exchanges to see if you haven't paid your taxes. In terms of the DeFi space, they can follow your wallets, but they know people can go wallet to wallet to wallet, and that's just an absolute mission. So governments don't really need to look into crypto projects every 6 months to see, for your tax purposes, because they already have access to exchanges, and also all the cold wallet companies are all private and public companies. So if the UK government wanted to know if you own a ledger, for example, the UK government could send out a letter, or the US wanted to know, for example, the US could send out a Wells notice to Ledger, for example, the company, and say, hand over everything you have in terms of US citizens who have ordered a Ledger, their full name, their address, and so on, and give it to us. And if Ledger doesn't, abide by that, they will get sued into the ground, and they can't operate inside the United States anymore. Remember, it's a private and public companies that do these things. So governments don't need to look into projects every 6 months to find out if you haven't paid your taxes. They can do that by just pressuring hard wallet companies, or pressuring even hot wallet companies, because they're owned by another company. Binance essentially owns Trust Wallet. They can just go to Binance and say, let us know who owns essentially a Binance account, and then who connects their Binance account to a Trust Wallet account. So then the government can say, well, you own this Binance account as also connected to this Trust Wallet account, so that means these are both your accounts. They don't need to look into crypto projects every 6 months to realize if they haven't paid taxes or not. They can easily put pressure on the exchanges, which in some cases they do. Some exchanges work willingly with governments. Crypto.com is like an open book. Crypto.com is the only crypto exchange that will sing like a bird. Honestly, any government that goes to Crypto.com and says, can we have, a list of our own citizens? Crypto.com goes, no problem. Monday morning, it's on your desk. It's the only exchange that will sing like a bird. So they don't need to look at the crypto projects because of tax purposes. They can do that easily through the exchanges and the private and public companies that are for hot wallets and cold wallets. There's multiple ways to get access to if you don't pay your taxes. So regarding the 6 months, it is because of that purpose. Do you know why? Because if the crypto project is keep on pumping and dumping, and governments are looking into these projects every 6 months, pumping and dumping will stop. Why is it good for pumping and dumping to stop? Because one person will have a lot more than essentially the people losing out. They don't care about you losing out. What they care about is that one person making quite a bit of money that could be used for illicit activities, is what they care about. Now, Miles, can you be our prime minister? Let's go, Ripple. So Tan can obviously, but I understand what angle you're coming from, but the angle that I'm coming from is the legal perspective. So Ton can obviously surpass the dollar price in the next 12 months. Possible, highly possible. Why is Ether a rip-off, Miles? Why is Ethereum expensive? Well, they can essentially Ethereum can lower their fees. Will they lower their fees? No. We had essentially a member of MetaMask. So one of the co-founders and essentially CEO, one of the co-founders or board members of MetaMask, I read out the news on this live show as well. He said, "So what? Ethereum is expensive. Who cares?" Is what one of them, essentially board members or executives of MetaMask, essentially consensus said. They said, "So what? Ethereum is expensive. Who cares?" Which I said, you have to be an absolute tool to say this. So what? Who cares? I mean, they're basically saying everybody that uses Ethereum is a moron because we know it's expensive. So what? Who cares? These are the people in charge of MetaMask. And Ton is chasing contracts instead of hype, which is also facts. Ton is chasing contracts instead of hypes, also facts. Thank you, John. No problem. Ripple is that big, it can't be stopped. I'm thinking. Big, sorry. Yeah. Ripple can't be stopped. Yeah. Now, what's happening with AVAX is quite interesting as well. AVAX is doing big movements actually inside real world assets. Not only is JP Morgan using AVAX on a subnet green for real world assets, also Citibank using AVAX on a subnet green for real world assets. But now AVAX is launching in Spain's market for real world assets. Avalanche enables securities first on-chain real-world asset transactions in Spain's regulated market. Securities Europe Brokerage and Markets has achieved a significant milestone by conducting the first formal on-chain secondary transaction of tokenized financial instruments in Spain. This transaction, represented on a public blockchain, marks a pivotal moment for integrating blockchain technology into regulated markets, enhancing transparency and efficiency. Securities Europe Brokerage and Markets announced the successful execution of tokenized financial instruments and transactions under the regulatory framework of Spain Law 6 on securities markets and investment services. This transaction was carried out on the Avalanche AVAX blockchain, making it the first formal on-chain secondary transaction in Spain. The transparency and efficiency offered by blockchain technology are poised to transform regulated markets. Securities achievements demonstrates the potential for real-world assets to be tokenized and traded on public blockchains. This breakthrough offers a glimpse into the future of financial markets, where blockchain technology could provide a secure, transparent, and efficient platform for trading various financial instruments. Importance of blockchain in regulated markets. The integration of blockchain technology into regulated markets offers several advantages. Blockchain provides essentially transparent ledger, which enables the trust and efficiency of financial transactions. By tokenizing real-world assets, blockchain can essentially streamline the trading process, reduce costs, and improve accessibility for investors. Securities transactions exemplifies these benefits, showcasing how blockchain can be leveraged within the framework of existing financial regulations. The use of Avalanche blockchain ensures the transactions are secure, transparent, and efficient, aligning with the regulatory requirements of Law 6 in Spain. The successful execution of this transaction signifies just the beginning of a broader movement towards the adoption of blockchain technology in regulated markets. This is a significant milestone in making real world assets available to investors through tokenization, offering greater transparency and efficiency for regulated markets. That is absolutely amazing news to hear regarding AVAX as well. AVAX is a brilliant chain as well. I've talked about AVAX multiple times. I talked about one regarding, essentially JP Morgan going towards it, and a little bit of time over that, I talked about regarding Citibank going towards it because corporates do tend to follow each other. But yeah, first formal transaction in terms of real world assets actually happened in Spain under their law, Law 6 in Spain, Law 6/2023 that came out. That law came out in essentially 2023. That was implemented in 2023. And then fast forward to today, where the transaction was done, a formal transaction on AVAX in Spain for real world assets was just done under the law. And it was successful, which essentially showed that AVAX and other public blockchains can be used for in terms of real world assets in Spain. So right now, AVAX is getting quite the buzz in Spain. Are more corporates going to go towards AVAX in Spain? Possible. As I said before, corporates do tend to follow each other's footsteps. JP Morgan went to AVAX on a subnet green. About 2 weeks later, Citibank went towards AVAX on a subnet green. They tend to follow each other. Not just those two, but in general, in the corporate sector. But yeah, that is absolutely amazing news to hear, honestly. AVAX is going to do extremely well for themselves as well. Yeah, honestly. And it does show, again, that we are shifting a lot more towards regulations, a lot more towards corporates doing in terms of transactions, Apollo transactions, so on. But as I said previously, more corporates are in the crypto space than ever before. There's a lot of things happening in that aspect. There's a lot of things happening of the world shifting into a digital era this year. A lot of things. Now, this news is a quite funny one. The Biden administration news that we're about to go through is they're joining a key congressional leaders for Bitcoin roundtable in Washington, D.C. There is a Bitcoin roundtable. So everybody's seeing the concept of roundtable. Sometimes it's couples in terms of Will Smith and his missus as a roundtable, or sometimes it's celebrities and actors on a roundtable as well. And this time around is a roundtable that's happening in Washington, D.C. in terms of Bitcoin or cryptocurrencies. And apparently, Trump is going to be at the roundtable as well. A few of the Bitcoin mining institutions are going to be at the roundtable, and the Biden administration. Is Joe Biden, Sleepy Joe, going to be at the roundtable to talk about Bitcoin and blockchain? No. Biden doesn't know what or how to spell his own name. Forget about how, understand what blockchain is. So obviously they're not going to bring Biden to the table because, Biden is already an embarrassment as it is. Why add more to the embarrassment? I'm guessing what they're thinking, the Biden administration, because they're going to be attending on his behalf instead. So they just don't want to add too much onto the embarrassment. Because imagine watching Joe Biden, Sleepy Joe, having a conversation with someone trying to explain to him what blockchain is. It's just not possible. Why even bother? So that's what's happening. We're about to go through that. But before we go through that, let's go inside the comment section. Miles, apologies if you mentioned this over the last couple of days, but I've been seeing a lot of videos and information about PolySign and Ripple's connection and drama. Jack McDonald said, SVP of Ripple stablecoin. No, I haven't seen anything regarding that. I'll be honest. If it don't make any sense, people will catch on down with your thanks, Miles, for your intelligence. Like, let's go Ripple. But happy prices. I haven't seen anything regarding that. No, regarding people going against crypto projects, that happens all the time in the crypto space. But people going against Ripple, that also happens a lot inside the crypto space as well. And regarding some people say regarding Ripple's stablecoin, if this matter is, if Biden is invited to the roundtable, he would he would just circle around it, which is genuinely something that would happen. But no, I haven't heard anything on it. But in terms of people criticizing crypto projects, especially Ripple Labs, that happens a lot inside the crypto space. My response yesterday to someone that, so I share every single night on this live show, I share, recent news that's happening around the world from every project, that's doing something innovative and so on. And sometimes I share regulations on this live show, AI projects and so on. And then when I go to the Ripple news, so I went through, the prospective news, the Bitcoin news, the Michael Saylor news, the MicroStrategy news, so on. And then when I got to the Ripple news, somebody inside the comment section said, Ripple news really 2024. And I said, you're letting your emotions essentially control what you're doing, which is wrong. You should never come with emotions in any sort of market space. And I said to him, I don't like, not like, but I don't hold a lot of Cardano. But if I see a video, an interview, or a podcast, being done with the Cardano founder, I'm not going to go, oh, I don't like Cardano, so I'm not going to watch it. And I don't hold a lot of Cardano either, but I'll still watch the video because I don't let my emotions get in the way of, me getting essentially regarding knowledge. You should never essentially, cancel out knowledge because of your emotions. People who say inside the crypto space, I have no emotions inside the crypto space, are all full of BS. Because if you tell those people, go and watch a video by Brad, Ripple's CEO, they say, oh, Ripple, really? That's your emotions getting involved in right now. And you're essentially going against knowledge because of your emotions. So this ideology that people are just, essentially going against certain projects and they're saying, I have no emotions. Yes, you do. Because you're not essentially going towards knowledge because you don't like that project. The words, I don't like this project, is emotions. So you not watching a video by their CEO, he could mention something that you should know about you should know about inside the crypto space. But you're saying no to that video because your emotions are getting involved in it. Bad idea. Never involve emotions inside the market space. Watch the videos from those CEOs, even if you don't like the projects, because you can essentially say, they can say amazing things. They could say something innovative in that podcast, and you will miss it because your emotions go in the middle of it. Because you said, no, I don't want to watch it because I don't like Ripple. That's your emotions stopping you from getting the knowledge. Because he might say something absolutely innovative and you'll miss out on it. And I give the example of Cardano because I don't hold a lot of Cardano, but I'll still watch a video of Cardano's CEO because he might say something innovative. I'm going to reject knowledge because of my emotions, then I should not be in any market space. So, the Biden news. Before we go through that, let's consider the conversation first. Again, let's see if brother from another mother is a savage when it comes to describing our current American president. Love it. Don't forget to like and share the live. Let's go, Ray. I'll send you a couple of videos. Basically, Polysign investors could be in trouble losing everything. Send it away. No problem. I'll take a look at it. Pisces. This is correct, Miles. I do this and I was wrong. You are spot on, mate. Let's go, Addy. AVAX, $500. AVAX $500. Possible, yes, definitely. Not overnight in any sort of way, but possible, yes. Always best to keep emotions out of the crypto and politics as well, yes. Now, Biden administration. On the topic of politics, the Biden administration is going to be joining a roundtable for Washington, D.C. regarding Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies. So, representatives regarding Ro Khanna of California's 17th District is gearing up to lead a pivotal Bitcoin and blockchain discussion in the nation's capital. Early July, this is happening, by the way. This was revealed by a confidential from Khanna's office obtained by Bitcoin Magazine. The office categories the impending assembly as a unprecedented essential of policy shapers and trailblazers in the blockchain arena. Anticipated attendees include figures from President Biden's circle, members of both congressional chambers, and entrepreneur Mark Cuban, as per the dispatch. There's a lot of people that's going to be sitting at this roundtable. Mark Cuban, Biden administrations, even Trump is a possibility of it because Trump and Bitcoin Magazine have had this conversation before. So this is going to be definitely one roundtable you want to tune into if you're inside the crypto sector. Again, this is something you don't want to miss out on. Obviously, I would have preferred it if Biden was there as well, because then it would have been a comedy show. Honestly, if Joe Biden attended this, Sleepy Joe attended this roundtable, as someone said inside the comment section, if Joe Biden went to a roundtable, he would just go around the table, which I could possibly, picture this happening. But I wish he was attending it because it would be an absolute comedy show as well at the same time. But he's not attending it; he's sending his Biden administration instead. But either way, if you're inside the crypto sector, you want to see this early July. Biden administration, Mark Cuban, trailblazers, executives, CEOs, they're all going to be at that table having the blockchain and cryptocurrency conversation in Washington, D.C., all sitting around one table. So, objectives of the meeting. The gathering's chief aim is to forge a path for domestic Bitcoin and blockchain advancements in the United States. This move is perceived as a contradiction to the ex-president Donald Trump's recent Bitcoin sector endorsements. Notably, Trump has embraced Bitcoin Lightning transactions for his campaign vote last evening's to dismantle what the terms of Biden's crypto crusade was and to anchor the Bitcoin and crypto sector's futures without American shores. This week's also essentially saw Trump convene with top-tier Bitcoin miners at his Mar-a-Lago, affirming his backings for Bitcoin mining essentially endeavors both locally and internationally. Over the last 4 years, President Biden's administration has been completely against cryptocurrencies and Bitcoin. We can see that of who they've chosen for their SEC members. And on May 31st, Biden vetoed the bill that would have permitted regulated banks to manage Bitcoin and other digital currencies. Moreover, in April, the DOJ apprehended the creators and chief executive of Samurai Wallet, a renowned Bitcoin mixer, on money laundering allegations. And, regarding how do we know the Biden administration is going to be there, is because of leaked emails. Leaked emails have shown that the Biden administration will be attending a Bitcoin and crypto roundtable in DC in July. This was posted by the Bitcoin magazine themselves. That's doing the roundtable. So yeah, this is definitely going to be one roundtable nobody wants to miss out on. The Biden administration, executives, directors, trailblazers, and their own words, Mark Cuban, they're all going to be sitting around at one table discussing the future of Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies in the United States. It's going to be massive. And it's in Washington, D.C. Massive. And it's happening early July. Now, Ripple CLO. Ripple's CLO, moving on to the Ripple news now, moving away from the Biden news and the essentially regulation news to the Ripple CLO news. Ripple CLO provides an update on the SEC case. So, in the ongoing legal battle between Ripple and the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission, SEC, Stewart Attorney, Chief Legal Officer at Ripple, has shared insights into the current state of the case. This update comes as the cryptocurrency community closely watches the proceedings and their potential impacts on the XRP token. According to the CLO of Ripple, the SEC appears to be experiencing significant frustration within the case's progression. He notes that Ripple has maintained a strong defense strategy, refusing to essentially concede ground in the legal dispute. This stance has apparently essentially echoed the regulatory body which has been pursuing actions against Ripple since late 2022. In the words of Ripple's CLO, the SEC thought that going up against Ripple is going to be an easy battle. Turned out it wasn't, and the SEC is getting frustrated and tired, and also running on a low budget at this point in time. And that's why we had, essentially the SEC filing a new, essentially a fine that they want from Ripple, not $2 billion anymore. But so the court rulings provides clarity on XRP status, is what Ripple's CLO said. A key point highlighted by Ripple's CLO is the court's decision regarding XRP's classification. He states that the court has provided clarity indicating that XRP is not considered a security. This ruling is crucial for Ripple and the broader cryptocurrency industry as it potentially sets a precedent for how digital assets may be viewed under securities laws. This is what Ripple's CLO tweeted. The SEC is raging right now. Ripple defended itself, agreeing to nothing. The court gave clarity that XRP is not a security. There are no victims to compensate. And worst of all, for the SEC, Ripple is thriving. But at least the SEC seems to be abandoning its absurd demand for $2 billion. What he's referring to is the Terraform Labs case. So Terraform Labs, recently came to an agreement with the SEC for about $4.6 billion. Ripple's lawyers straight away used that Terraform Labs case and said to the courts, to the judges essentially, that Ripple Labs has not, essentially defrauded anyone in any sort of a way, and we haven't caused any sort of scams. We never pulled down the market in billions that Terraform Labs did. So why are we, essentially going to be paying the SEC $2 billion for frauds we've never done before? And then the SEC quickly replied to the judge, essentially saying that, well, okay, if we're going to say it on those kinds of basis, then essentially they shifted from $2 billion to around $302 million. So this is what he's referring to, the Ripple CLO, by saying, but at least the SEC seems to have abandoned its absurd demand for $2 billion. And Ripple CLO emphasizes that there are no victims requiring compensation in this case, which is true. There's no victims inside the Ripple case. Because even when Ripple USA was selling XRP, because Ripple Singapore is the one selling XRP, essentially through Singapore to other institutions. It's not Ripple USA anymore for a while now, for a very long time. So when Ripple USA was even selling essentially XRP to institutions, even if they were selling at a discount, the price of at what XRP is sitting at right now is higher. Believe it or not, a lot of people might say, well, how can XRP be high price? It's still selling at 50 cents or 30 cents or 40 cents. It's a lot more higher than what they were selling to institutions. So therefore, any of the institutions that did buy even XRP, they're not sitting at any sort of prices where they would demand the money back in any sort of a way. So Ripple CLO emphasizing there are no victims requiring compensation in this case. This statement suggests that the SEC allegations of harm to investors may not have found substantial ground in the court's view. Despite the ongoing legal battles, Ripple CLO reports that Ripple is thriving. The association indicates that the company has managed to maintain its operations and potentially even expand, which is true. Ripple just acquired another company, essentially inside the United States, the New York firm that comes with a lot of licensings at the same time as well. Regardless of the regulatory scrutiny it faces, it's true. Ripple has more contracts, more companies, and more licenses to its name than ever before. In a noteworthy development, attorney essentially the CLO of Ripple mentions that the SEC seems to have abandoned its obviously previous demands of $2 billion from Ripple. This change in stance could signal a reassessment of the SEC's position or strategy in the case, essentially, which is true. The SEC is basically showing frustration right now. The SEC is showing frustration because they're no longer demanding their absurd $2 billion. They've lowered their fees quite a lot from $2 billion to around $103 million is a big drop. The SEC is showing weakness, they're showing frustration, and they just want this case to be over with right now, is what it does show. Otherwise, the SEC would have been firm on their price point of $2 billion. But they weren't. They dropped it ridiculously. It just shows the SEC is weak, they're frustrated, and they want this case to be over with because they thought going up against Ripple was going to be an easy battle or an easy payday. And it wasn't. Even though, the SEC, you could say, won against Terraform Labs. The SEC, won against Terraform Labs. They're getting paid $4.3 billion. But the only reason they won is because Do Kwon didn't attend court. So the judge and, essentially ruled in favor of the SEC. When the other person doesn't when the other person doesn't come to court, it's quite easy to say who wins and who doesn't. And that's the only case the SEC's won so far. Major case. Now, the next news to go through on tonight's live show is HSBC. HSBC extends digital yuan services for corporate clients and eyes a new use case. This also has relevance to Ripple and XRP, and I'll explain why after. But let's go to that comment section first. Let's go where we go. Always best to emergency. I think it's good news if politicians are talking about crypto is good for the future. Yes, it's definitely good news. Regarding politicians coming together on one roundtable, it's massive bullish news. Fed up at the moment, tried to get my money into Uphold from 5 sources, all declined, although they all support funds into my Coinbase. We'll find a way around this, Butch. Link, AVAX, or TON, please choose one only. If I had to choose Link, AVAX, or TON, which one? They all have their, key great areas. Link's biggest partner is essentially Swift. AVAX's biggest partners are essentially JP Morgan and Citibank. TON's biggest partner is Telegram, 900 million users. They all have their positives. I will say this, Chosen, whichever way you go, it won't go wrong for you. Because think about it, if you go for Link, it's involved in the corporate sector and it's going to do well for itself. If you go for AVAX, it's heavily involved in the essentially real world assets. And today they did the first transaction under Spain's authority, and it essentially was successful. It was a successful test, so the payments went through. The real assets can't possibly happen in Spain. So if you go for Link, you're going to do well. If you go for AVAX, you're going to do well. If you go for Ton, you're going to do well. Flip a coin and see which one lands. Either one, you're going to do well for yourself. Honestly, even in the long run, you'll do well. Ton, they have 900 million users on Telegram. In the long run, those 900 million users will all abroad, essentially Ton. So it will do well even in the long run. AVAX will do well in the long run as well in terms of real world assets. Link will do also well in the long term as well. So you can't go wrong with any of those projects. So, write them on a piece of paper, put them into a bowl, and just pick one. Either one, you'll do good. HSBC is the next news to go through. On a long-term basis. On a long-term basis, you'll do well on all of them. Short-term, you'll do well on Link and AVAX. And Ton, actually, to be fair. Okay, so your dollar cost, okay, better. So I'm invested in all of them, but just want a dollar cost average. Don't know which one to go for. Okay, now knowing that you already own all three of them, and you just want a dollar cost average, I would say dollar cost average into either Ton or AVAX. If you already own all three, I don't know what the percentage is. So you could possibly have more Link than AVAX, or AVAX more than Link, and so on. But if you get dollar cost average and you already own all three of them, then AVAX or Ton, dollar cost average those ones. Not financial advice in any sort of a way. Ton is outperforming BTC. As I said, you can't go wrong. You cannot go wrong with Ton as well. You can't go wrong with Link, you can't go wrong with AVAX, and you can't go wrong with Ton. They're all three amazing projects. But again, if you get dollar cost average and you already own all three of them, it's between Ton and AVAX. We're going dollar cost average. You know what? Go for Ton. Yeah, go for Ton. Not financial advice. Just saying from my perspective. Go for Ton. I would go for Ton, is what I meant to say. Miles, when you say long term, is that 3 to 5 years? No. It's 5 years. When I say long term, it means starting now within 5 years or within 3 years. It's starting now though. Miles, have you ever looked into Metacade? Once, a very long time ago. Now, HSBC Bank, which, honestly, they are doing quite a lot of innovation. HSBC Bank is going to be one of the first banks to offer you lending and borrowing services for your cryptocurrencies, to use them as collateral and borrow against it. So HSBC Bank extends the digital yuan services for corporate clients and eyes a new use case. HSBC Bank has announced an expansion of its suite of digital yuan services to corporate clients ahead of the formal launch of the central bank currency, CBDC. According to the official statements by the Chinese arm of the global bank, corporate entities can link their bank accounts with existing or new digital yuan accounts to manage their funds. The integration will allow corporate clients to seamlessly deposit digital yuan into their bank accounts without the hassle of switching between multiple applications. Why is this important information for you to know? Well, this is going to be implemented worldwide, not in terms of digital yuan, but in terms of CBDCs being essentially a retail section and the corporate section. Nobody can get away from CBDCs because of the Bank of International Settlements. Managing Director of HSBC China, and also because of who's involved. So the Managing Director of HSBC China Global Payment Solution Department disclosed that the bank has been moving towards expanding its area of digital yuan services to corporate clients since the last quarter of 2023. The bank's latest essentially are geared towards supporting the People's Bank of China, which is their central bank. Pilot studies essentially. testing out the ecosystem for commercial rollout. China is getting ready for an absolute commercial rollout of wholesale CBDCs. As one of the major foreign banks in China, HSBC is leveraging its rich experience in payment settlements, actively exploring technological innovations and business models, planning to participate in promoting China's digital financial developments and empowering the digital economy, said Su from HSBC. Apart from linking accounts, corporate clients will be able to bind their bank cards with their digital yuan mobile app. There is a speculation that HSBC may provide corporate account holders access to offline payments and functionalities akin to services rendered to the retail customers. In 2023, HSBC China tested the waters by offering CBDC services for retail clients to support adoption rates, racking up essentially promising results along the way. At that time, HSBC joined an exclusive list of financial institutions, including Hang Seng Bank, who's a Ripple partner, Fubon Bank, who's a Ripple partner, and Standard Chartered Bank, who's a Ripple partner. So is HSBC, to provide CBDC services for individual customers. With the latest play, HSBC has surged ahead to become the only player with digital yuan offerings for corporate clients. But early reports indicate that several banks are aligning to achieve the same feat. Not content with binding cards and essentially linking accounts, HSBC China is hinting at providing corporate accounts with a range of use cases revolving around CBDC cross-border transactions. The People's Bank of China, the central bank, is in partnership with HSBC, with Fubon Bank, and a few other banks who are all Ripple partners. You might say this might have no relevance. Anybody can say this has no relevance to Ripple, so what, they're Ripple partners. Well, think of it like this. 24,000 crypto projects, some doing, some doing essentially AI inside the crypto sector. Some projects are doing, gaming, some are doing Web3, some are doing data. There's a lot of competition going on inside the crypto sector, but only one is doing CBDCs and actually has a CBDC platform. And only one is also partnered with HSBC, Standard Chartered Bank, Fubon Bank, pretty much, and also has a license in Hong Kong. So, you could say, so what is partnered with Ripple, but once you state the facts, 24,000 crypto projects, some are doing AI in the crypto sector, some are doing Web3, some are doing data, some are doing gaming. There's a lot of competition going on, but only one is doing CBDCs, and that's Ripple. And one only has a CBDC platform, and one is only partnered with the Bank of International Settlements on an actual PDF document titled Cross-Border Payments from the Bank of International Settlements, the banks of all central banks, G20 countries, which is also China's a part of. All the BRICS countries, they're under the Bank of International Settlements, same as the United States, same as the United Kingdom, same as Canada, same as Australia, same as Japan, and the list just goes on. So, we look forward to providing related support to our customers in broader areas, such as cross-border merchants payments and cross-border trade settlements in the future, added Su from HSBC, inching towards a commercial launch. After over 4 years, it appears that the People's Bank of China may be nearing a commercial rollout in the coming months, following a name change of the digital yuan app on the Chinese store apps. At the start of June, users spotted dropping of the pilot tag from the terminology. So China's CBDC app was obviously the pilot app. The pilot app has just removed the pilot word. So now it's an official app. It's no longer in testing phase for wholesale CBDCs and retail CBDCs for cross-border payments. So, at the start of June, the users spotted the dropping of the pilot tag from the terminology, fueling furious speculation of a mainstream launch. However, local authorities are playing down the name change as merely complying with local registration requirements. Sure. Nothing ever happens by coincidence inside the corporate sector. It's always coordinated. Everything inside the corporate sector. Everything inside the corporate sector is always coordinated. Therefore, the removal of pilot version from the name of the digital remedy app This time will not change the existing digital revenue pilot policy, said one local administrator. One local person said it, and that's all that matters. But yeah, China is getting ready for an actual cross-border payments happening between Hong Kong and China and so on in terms of wholesale CBDCs. Ironically, the Central Bank of China is, in an actual partnership with one particular bank in Hong Kong, HSBC Bank, who's ironically also a Ripple partner. And that one bank in Hong Kong is also ironically a partner of Seng Bank, which is also a Ripple partner for CBDCs, which is also a partner of Fubon Bank, which is also a Ripple partner for CBDCs. Coincidence or coordinated? Time will tell. And as I said, 24,000 crypto projects, only one is doing CBDCs and has a CBDC platform. And is actually implemented. And is also on the Bank of International Settlements PDF document titled Cross-Border Payments. And also for the people that were wondering, so what? It's Ripple, it's not XRP. Good question. The answer to that would be 5 days ago, Ripple released a Q&A on their own website of how they're actually going to be using XRP. 5 days ago. 5 days ago, Ripple released on their own website a Q&A of step-by-step how they're going to be using XRP and how everybody inside the crypto space always goes, it's Ripple Payments, it's got nothing to do with XRP. Yeah, on that Q&A that Ripple announced on their own websites, on their own official website, it actually says Ripple Payments is utilizing full-on XRP in their payments. I mean, if you're going to get it from if you want to hear the facts, the source is the best place to go for facts, no? Or the people is. I'm from the corporate sector. For me, when it comes to facts, the source is the best place to go. But, everybody's entitled to an opinion because we all know opinions count. In the corporate sector, they don't. They never did. Now, Michael Saylor. Michael Saylor forecasts Bitcoin to hit. Everyone has given a perspective of how much Bitcoin can hit. We've heard it from Cathie Woods. Bitcoin can hit $1 million, is what Cathie Woods said. We've heard it from other executives. We've heard it from Goldman Sachs. Goldman Sachs said Bitcoin can hit 250,000 by the end of this year and 500,000 by the end of next year. And then some other executives, and Cathie Woods wasn't the only one that said Bitcoin can hit $1 million. There was a few other people as well. Members from Coinbase said it as well. Now, Michael Saylor has said he sees Bitcoin, and Michael Saylor, incredibly intelligent person, incredibly wealthy person, and his company, MicroStrategy, MSTR stock, actually outperforms Bitcoin. And his entire company is a Bitcoin company. He owns about $14.3 billion worth of Bitcoin. But his latest prediction is Bitcoin can hit $8 million. This is definitely the highest valuation we've had so far on Bitcoin predictions. The highest we've ever had on Bitcoin predictions was $1 million. Michael Saylor has just came out and said that Bitcoin can hit $8 million. His perspective. He's an intelligent man, wealthy man. He's got a Bitcoin company, owns about $14.3 billion of Bitcoin. We're going to go through his perspective. But that is the craziest, essentially price I've heard so far. But is it crazy? We'll go through his perspective. And by the way, he's not saying $8 billion tomorrow. He said $8 billion. Let's see where I was. Before I read that, let's go inside the comment section first. Let's see where I was. By the way, I read everybody's comments one by one inside the comment section. Give quick responses so everybody gets a little bit of time going in. I'm invested. Yeah, okay. I was here. Here. I have actually less TON than AVAX and Link, and I'm going to buy more TON. Let's go. The bank rejected me. Ew. The bank rejected you, Ripple? Miles, I'm dollar cost averaging on no. What do you think about this project? I got to look into it to give you a better perspective. Message me on Telegram or inside the group chat, and I'll take a look at it. No problem. Morning, Miles and CMF. Sorry for being late on an appointment this morning. Shelly, good to see you. How you doing? Morning. Why do people do the feelings? What's good meme coin at this point? The issue with telling you what a good meme coin project is, there's no point, because if I tell you a good meme coin, not that I'm looking into meme coins, but if I tell you a good meme coin project now, it's only good for about 24 hours until the next one comes out. So here's what I would say instead. If you want to be in meme coins, it's very easy. Go to Dex Tracker, download Dex Tracker, go to Dex Tracker app, filter it out to all chains, or put it on base chain if you want, because it is relatively pumping on base chain, or to keep the Solana chain if you want to be Solana category. Put the liquidity at around $1 million, so at least you can fade out the scammers, and then see what projects are pumping or slightly pumping, and then go towards it. And remember, meme coins, it's only good for 5 minutes. Make profit in 5 minutes and jump the F out. I've never understood people who hold meme coins, random meme coins, for more than 24 hours. Makes no sense. I will always be strong, smart. Let's go, Ripple. I just can't understand how people are so black and white with XLP. True. Layer 2 BTC, pretty much. $8 million. Yes, we're about to go through it right now. People also... is too much 2050 maybe? Is 2050 too much? We're going to go through the perspective. Ripple will flip you. Now, so, Michael Saylor's perspective. Bitcoin can hit $8 million. Again, Michael Saylor, incredibly intelligent man, incredibly wealthy man, owns a Bitcoin company. His company, MSTR stock, actually outperforms BTC. His company holds about $14.3 billion worth of BTC. And his new perspective is Bitcoin can hit $8 million. So, Bitcoin has come under bearish pressure in recent months, but this has not deteriorated Michael Saylor, who is a big advocate of the digital currencies, and especially Bitcoin, who has offered in a massive prediction on the future value of Bitcoin. Bitcoin analyst essentially has offered some insights into Saylor's recent speech at a BTC Prague event. So obviously there was a Bitcoin event going on in Prague, where a lot of executives and directors attended to talk about Bitcoin, what the future is going to be in terms of layer 2 projects and regulations and so on. And speaking at the event, Michael Saylor revealed that he was once a skeptic about learning regarding Bitcoin. He said at that time, BTC was priced at just $892. This was Michael Saylor's speech at the Bitcoin event in Prague. He said basically, Bitcoin was at $892 when I knew about Bitcoin. Because of his skepticism, he would later buy Bitcoin at around $9,500. So he had a chance to buy Bitcoin at $892. He didn't because he was skeptic about it. Bitcoin goes to $9,500 after learning the inner workings of the digital asset and the technology driving it. Based on this, Michael Saylor stated that one of the standout quotes of the event essentially was him saying, "Everyone gets Bitcoin at the price they deserve." Interesting statement to make. Everyone gets Bitcoin at the price they deserve. He said everyone gets Bitcoin at the price they deserve. Michael Saylor reflected on how he dismissed Bitcoin at $892 to only deserve buying it at $9,500. He then said when Bitcoin is $950,000, people will try to wait for it to crash to $700,000. Then BTC would go to $8 million. Taking a lesson from this, Bitcoin is guaranteed to continue adding value despite skepticism from the larger population and support from the community. Michael Saylor has been a big advocate for retail traders and big companies to learn about Bitcoin due to its inherent value and potential future growth. Breaking down his hypothesis on the future price, he explains that at $950,000, some investors will wait for the price to crash to $700,000 to buy it. However, it can go to $8 million and possibly even higher. look, anything is possible. I mean, I'll give you the market stats after this. Michael Saylor further highlights, and again, it's not an overnight type of situation. Michael Saylor further highlights some key catalysts, such as the possibilities of political economic chaos. He explains that essentially he referenced World War II and communism in Prague/Europe. Essentially, in terms of such events, Bitcoin would be the best bet as opposed to traditional assets such as houses, companies, or gold. He also points out that Bitcoin is the only asset that essentially holders can truly own. Michael Saylor explained that all assets in the ancient world were protected by governing authorities or essentially over their owners and property rights granted by a collective of humans. Michael Saylor further describes Bitcoin as a ticket to escape the matrix. According to Michael Saylor, the current economic system reliant on GDP, CPI, and endless quantitative easing is fabricated reality, like the matrix. Prices within this system are arbitrary and don't reflect true value. Bitcoin offers a way to break free from this manipulated system. It's an outlier, not bound by its limitations of traditional economic data points that can be skewed to fit such a particular narrative. Just, regarding can Bitcoin reach $8 million? Eventually, yes, it definitely can. Eventually. Not overnight in any sort of a way. But eventually, who knows, 10 years' time and so on, possibly reaching it. Yes, definitely possible. Or more, even longer. But the other part regarding escaping the matrix part that Michael Saylor stated, if you go for Bitcoin, you can get away from the whole GDP, CPI, and endless quantitative easings. The CPI data came out and it did affect the markets, the crypto market. Bitcoin reacted too. So it's not really, going for Bitcoin, you're not really getting away from what Jerome Powell says. Because in Michael Saylor's, but again, he's an intelligent man, wealthy man, incredible company, not taking anything away from him. But also, sometimes wealthy people do make mistakes in what they say. For example, Michael Saylor was the same guy about a month ago who said, Bitcoin ETF is the only ETF. Ethereum ETFs won't get accepted and nobody else will have an ETF, just Bitcoin. And after he said that, about 2 days after, the SEC approved the ETFs for Ethereum. So again, not taking anything away from him. He's still an intelligent man. He's incredibly wealthy. There's so much going for Michael Saylor and his company. But the idea of Bitcoin can't get affected by what Jerome Powell says is a lot of BS. If Jerome Powell comes out tomorrow and says we're going to do rate cuts, the market will take a dent. So will Bitcoin. So the ideology of the market won't get dented by CPIs and GDPs and endless quantitative easings, essentially what Jerome Powell says is completely load of BS. If Jerome Powell comes out tomorrow and says we're doing rate cuts tomorrow, the market will take a dent. And so will Bitcoin. So it does react to what Jerome Powell says in any sort of a way. And the ideology also is that, again, intelligent man, if you go for Bitcoin, you are a true owner and so on, and nobody can also control it. Also wrong. Bitcoin only can operate because of the Bitcoin mining institutions. There are 5 massive Bitcoin mining institutions pretty much controlling the entire network. Obviously, there are smaller mining institutions as well. Even, by the way, China apparently is still mining Bitcoin on the low end. In one provenance, like recently got released. But there are 5 massive Bitcoin mining institutions, okay? And one of them is Marathon Digital. Marathon Digital's back end is BlackRock. BlackRock owns pretty much majority shares into Marathon Digital. BlackRock also owns the #1 Bitcoin ETF. Just putting that out there. BlackRock owns the #1 Bitcoin ETF and also owns the majority shares in a company that's pretty much controlling the Bitcoin network. So the ideology of, you get away from everything is also wrong. No. You're not getting away from everything. Bitcoin can only operate because of the Bitcoin mining institution, essentially. Without them, it's obsolete. Yes, there are smaller Bitcoin mining institutions, but if they shut down all their powers and so on, you can see Bitcoin on the charts just going. It's basically what happened when China banned Bitcoin mining. What happened? If you were in the crypto space at that particular time, what happened when China banned Bitcoin mining? Bitcoin just went, and those Bitcoin mining essentially institutions moved to the United States, which are now owned, essentially majority of them are owned by Vanguard, who essentially claims Bitcoin is too volatile for us to have an ETF. Vanguard is a majority shareholder in the Bitcoin mining institutions that shifted over from China. So the ideology of, you own the Bitcoin, it's yours, and nobody has control over it is also a lot of BS. Because if the Bitcoin mining institution is shut down tomorrow, the major ones that control the majority of the network, Bitcoin again will just go. We've seen it happen already once when China banned it. And regarding, what the CPI data says and so on doesn't affect Bitcoin is also a lot of BS. And Jerome Powell comes out tomorrow and says, we're doing rate cuts next week. Bitcoin will go. Because it will take a dent. Not just Bitcoin, the entire crypto market will take a dent. So, there's a few things that he said just don't add up logically at all, according to actual data. But again, he's an intelligent man. So not taking that away from him. He's an intelligent man, owns a wealthy company, Bitcoin company, but he's too blindsided by just Bitcoin, which you shouldn't be. Right now, Michael Saylor is doing the one thing that he would probably tell his own clients not to do. Michael Saylor is doing the one thing that he would tell his own clients not to do, which is bring your emotions inside the crypto space. Michael Saylor, for some oddly reason, has gone full emotional inside the market space. Just putting it out there. He's went full emotional inside the market space, where he's Bitcoin orientated. And there's nothing wrong with Bitcoin. But also, on the side of Bitcoin, there are amazing crypto projects out there as well that are bringing so much innovation in terms of their partnerships and contracts that are going on with banks and corporations that he should be paying attention to. Honestly, Michael Saylor is doing the one thing he probably tells his own clients not to do, which is involve your emotions inside the crypto space. He is fully emotional about Bitcoin, which is wrong to do. You should never bring your emotions inside the crypto space. Ever. And that backfired on him when he said, Bitcoin is the only ETF and no more ETFs will ever happen again. 2 days later, the SEC approved the Ethereum ETFs. 2 days later. So that backfired very quick as well, by the way. And then obviously, Michael Saylor came out and put a speech and said he's happy that now we have Ethereum ETFs and so on, but he's very quick on response. But yeah, he's doing the one thing that he probably tells his own clients not to do, which is bring your emotions inside the market space. The worst thing you can do. Because there are a lot of amazing crypto projects out there as well. Now, on the topic of amazing crypto projects out there, I reviewed recently essentially news on this on Ripple essentially. So Ripple also, while we had the BTC Prog event happening, we also had the XRP Ledger Apex event happening in Amsterdam, and Ripple announced the stablecoin they're coming out with this year and so on, and they also announced their partnership with Atrax. And with Ultrax, sorry. And I reviewed that a few nights ago and so on. And now I have a little bit more information on Ultrax and Ripple, essentially on the XRP ledger, and how they're going to utilize it. Now, before we go through that, let's look at the comment section first. So, hey Miles, what's your thoughts on Alexa? Is this going to help XRP? I'm wondering if I should add it to the collection. If you want to, it's going to, but I'd rather just go for XRP in that sense. I can give it. If Trump gets elected, BTC goes to 500,000 is what Leroy's saying. Let's go. A US bill to bring back the military draft has been launched. That is true. If you're on the side of the United States, off topic a little bit, if you're on the side of the United States, between the ages of 18 and 26, male or female, you're going to be going to the army from now on. See, everybody laughed at the UK. The UK government came out, essentially Rishi Sunak, the Prime Minister of the UK, came out and said British 18-year-olds between 18 and a certain age will have to join the army. And everybody laughed at the UK and thought it was absolutely absurd. Until the same similar regulation was just passed inside the United States, which is the military draft that's been launched. If you're the ages between of 18 and 26 years old, male or female, you're going to get drafted into the US Army. The bill already passed. For the UK, it still hasn't passed because Rishi Sunak has to become Prime Minister again for it to pass. The US already drafted into. Don't talk honestly crap, not you, Mouse. Today, Michael Saylor said something nice about Ethereum. He sometimes does say, recently, he's changed his tone. Who controls my assets, Mouse? Me. Who's in touch? That is why Ripple is controlling mining. They cannot afford to put their assets at risk. That is why BlackRock is controlling the mining, because they cannot afford their assets at risk. It's facts. That is the only reason why BlackRock is a majority shareholder of the Bitcoin mining institutions, because BlackRock can control the whole game. BlackRock is the number one BTC ETF holder and is also the number one majority holder of the Bitcoin network in terms of Marathon Digital. So BlackRock is controlling both aspects of the game. So nobody can control it instead of them. Now, on to this one. Ripple and Artrex, which I revealed a few nights ago on this live show regarding the Apex event that's going on, the XRP Ledger Apex event, partnered together, and I explained their partnership in a very small detail. But now I have a little bit of update. So Ripple and Artrex partner to enable the FLS to select XRP Ledger to tokenize real-world assets. And they make a very bold statement at the bottom, which I'll tell you. So the Ripple Enterprise blockchain and crypto solution provider has extended its collaboration with Artrex, the Financial Conduct Authority regulated digital asset exchange broker and custodian, in a move hoping to bring hundreds of millions of dollars of tokenized real-world assets on to the XRP Ledger over the coming year. Ripple is working with Artrex to enable financial institutions to select the XRP Ledger to tokenize their real-world assets, creating opportunities for numerous downstream use cases for those assets. The partnership ultimately aims to establish the XRP Ledger as one of the leading blockchains for real-world asset tokenizations with Artrex. The relationship between the two organizations was originally established in 2022 when Artrex collaborated with Metaco to offer digital asset custody services to its clients. In mid-2023, Metaco was acquired by Ripple, bringing the two organizations together, because obviously Metaco's partners are also Ripple's partners when Metaco is a Ripple company. A lot of people struggle to understand that part. When a company buys another company out completely, the partners of that company are instantly your partners now too. For example, when Volkswagen brought out Audi owns Lamborghini. Therefore, Lamborghini is on the Volkswagen as well. So when essentially Ripple acquired Metaco, when Ripple essentially brought out Metaco, and Metaco essentially was partnering with HSBC, people will say, well, HSBC is partnered with Metaco, it's not partnered with Ripple, which just explains the deludedness that's going on and how people don't really understand how the corporate sector works. Because if you own that company and that company does a partnership, technically they're your partners too. Volkswagen buys Audi. Audi owns Lamborghini. There's Volkswagen parts and Lamborghini cars as well. It's just how it goes. When you acquire a company, you also acquire their partners. But that was quite difficult for some people to understand inside the crypto sector, which explains that the majority of the crypto sector don't understand how things work inside the corporate sector. Because the corporate sector isn't complicated, but people want to make it complicated. So our industry is the start of the next major adoption stage in which blockchain markets at scale. Explained by Marcus, the SVP at RippleX. Ripple is excited to see Artrex's vision of driving the adoption of blockchain and digital asset technology amongst financial institutions come to life, while further underlying the credentials of the XRP Ledger as one of the leading blockchains for real-world asset tokenizations. The XRP Ledger is an open-source, public, decentralized Layer 1 blockchain with built-in capabilities including tokenizations, a native decentralized exchange, and compliance features. Ensuring global compliance, both Ripple and Archrex essentially work proactively with regulators and policymakers worldwide to bring the benefits of crypto and blockchain technology to the world's global financial infrastructures. As the only FCA-regulated digital securities exchange, custodian, and brokerage, Archx is well positioned to provide its clients with the means to essentially derive to the benefits of DeFi through real-world asset tokenizations, underpinned by the XRP Ledger's capabilities. We have hit the tipping point for mainstream adoption of digital assets for real-world use cases, added Graham Rodford, CEO of Archrex. There is a clear real-world utility use case for essential real-world tokenizations for the operational efficiencies, access to liquid markets, and transparency inherent to crypto. And Archrex has already tokenized assets such as entities, debt essential instruments, and money market funds. Financial institutions are now understanding this, and we are excited to play a role in bringing the XRP Ledger forward. Throughout the last decade, here is the bold statement. Throughout the last decade, the XRP Ledger has been home for over 1,000 projects, processing over 2.8 billion transactions without failure or security breaches since 2012, and supporting over 5 million active wallets with a network of 120 validators. You know, the bold statement I was talking about is just this one single line, which is without failure, 2.8 billion transactions, without failure or security breaches. The major cryptocurrency projects, forget the random crypto projects that are, on the top 1,000 or top 100s. Let's just take the top 50s or top 10s, for example, even. The top crypto projects can't claim none of this. Regarding without failure, they've done 2.8 billion transactions without failure or security breaches. Without failure doing transactions on the ledger since 2012, for the last decade. No failures on transactions, no security breaches for the last decade, since 2012 until now. The top crypto projects, Solana, for example, one of them, not the, but one of them, collapsed 12 times according to actual data. The last time was 5 hours. You can do a transaction on Solana. Ethereum. When it gets too congested, transactions don't go through either. They fail. Bitcoin. When it gets congested, transactions don't go through either. AVAX. It's had some issues. Not major ones, but some issues. That pretty much sums it up. Since 2012 until now, no network failures, pretty much. No transaction failures. That's a bold statement to make inside the crypto sector. No transaction failures since 2012. 2.8 billion transactions processed. And no security breaches either. That's a very big statement to make. Now, on the topic of CBDCs, because Ripple's a CBDC platform, Project Linodos update. The Italian banks complete wholesale CBDC trial. The same way China has just completed its wholesale CBDC trial, is getting ready for cross-border payments. The Italian Banking Association, ABI, has successfully completed a trial for the issuance of central bank digital currencies, CBDCs, in a distributed ledger technology, DLT environment as well. Dubbed Project Lidois, it's focused on interbanking settlements with autonomy and traceability, transparency cited as a major benefits. The ABI recently published a report on Project Lidois, revealing it had partnered with 17 Italian banks on a trial. The Japanese IT firm NTT Data, which has been participated in previous Italian CBDC trials, also joined the latest pilot alongside blockchain firm R3, which is XDC, and Milano Hub, the Bank of Italian's Innovation Center. Project Lidois launched last June and lasted 6 months. It built the success of Sponta Banco, an ABI implemented DLT CBDC solutions involving over 100 banks. The ABI aimed to simulate essentially the settlings of liquid balances through a wholesale CBDC issued at the ABI Lab Chain, a DLT network designed by the association. The inherent benefits arising from both the use cases are manifold, including the autonomy of exchanges, restricted transparencies, and information traceability. The programmability also emerged as a crucial factor. It allowed for increased automation in end-to-end process management while maintaining the central role of humans, always prioritizing the operators inherent over the after the machines. The ABI acknowledged that its project borrowed heavily from the work done by the Banque de France, the Central Bank of France, especially regarding on the integration models. The French Central Bank published a report in 2023 that outlined the three wholesale CBDC model integrations: integration, distribution, interoperability. The ABI relied on the integration model in which the CBDC and other tokenized assets are issued on the same platform. Some aspects are also borrowed from other models. For instance, in its cash in transit test, the association implemented interoperability models, which has two separate DLTs. One holding the CBDC and the other holding the tokenized asset. The challenge with this model is ensuring that the changes in both ledgers are simultaneous, which makes autonomy an essential requirements. The application of new technologies should not merely overlay onto existing processes. Instead, it should drive a fundamental transformation of processes through the integration of innovation technologies, the ABI concluded. With a wholesale CBDC based on DLT, this transformation extends seamlessly from the activities to the settlement phase straight away. So, also regarding Banque de France, Bank of International Settlements, leads back to Ripple. As I said, there's a PDF document titled Cross-Border Payments, public PDF document. Swift is on that document, so is Ripple. And I explained the XRP part as well. But regarding Banque de France, doing wholesale CBDCs, G20 country, essentially part of Ripple, Bank of International Settlements. Also, the Italian Bank Association, also Bank of International Settlements, leads back to Ripple again. They are also getting ready for wholesale CBDCs. The same way China is moving away from testing to actual payments now in terms of wholesale CBDCs, so is Italy. Ironically, with China getting so close to actual payments on wholesale CBDCs and Italy getting close to wholesale CBDC payments as well, we are also coming up to the endings of Ripple's case this year. Brad did mention a few nights ago that the case for Ripple is going to end sooner than you think. And he did mention also that the case should be ending starting now until September is what you should be looking at for the Ripple case to end. Also, yesterday we had the SEC dropping down their price of a fine from $2 billion to $102 million. Coincidence or not? Or coordinated? But they're getting ready for wholesale CBDC transactions, cross-border wholesale CBDC transactions. Ripple case is also coming to an end. Now, we're also coming up to the endings of this live show as well, basically now. If you enjoyed this live show, drop a follow, drop a like, and tune into it every single night. I do this live show every single night. This is episode 89. 89 days. 89 days back to back. Every single night I've showed up for everyone on X and on YouTube at the exact same time, 11:25 every single night. 89 days back to back I've showed up for everyone. So if you enjoy this live show, you can tune into this live show every single night. If you enjoy this live show, generally, you tune into this live show every single night, be updated about the most recent news that's happening around the world in terms of cryptocurrencies, CBDCs, AI, regulations, politics, and how the world is actually shifting into a digital era. And the news topics we went through on tonight's live show regarding Italy going through essentially wholesale CBDC, they're getting ready. We talked about Ripple and Artrex and how they're going to actually be incorporating and so on. And we talked about Michael Saylor's forecast on $8 million. Ripple's forecast was with Archer is also very extremely bullish. CBDC might not look bullish to some people, but in general, it is. Now, HSBC also, we went from tonight's live show as well. I'm going into CBDCs again, on wholesale CBDCs, getting ready. We talked about Ripple's CLO and how it provides an update on SEC case. We talked about Biden administration joining a roundtable for blockchain technology. The Biden administration, more Cuban executives and CEOs are going to be sitting around at one table discussing Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies in July in Washington, D.C. We talked about also essentially on this live show regarding AVAX and scheduled news on AVAX in Spain going to real world assets. They did their first transaction, successful. We also talked about essentially on this live show regarding crypto tokens facing a delisting situation in Singapore. I also talked about on tonight's live show regarding Wall Street is greedy as hell in terms of what Tether's co-founder said. I also shared the news regarding Apple and Render essentially cooperating together. I talked about Malaysia, how they launched a new tactic to find out if you haven't paid your crypto taxes, which could apply to other jurisdictions as well. I also talked about BlackRock essentially making an official statement. I talked about Oklahoma governor signing a new bill as positive for the crypto space, essentially. I talked about the mining executives launching a non-profit, also positive for the crypto space. I also talked about NiceHash and Marathon Digital as well, launching crypto platforms for people to mine cryptocurrencies at home. So, if you enjoyed this live show, drop a like, drop a follow. If you're watching us on YouTube, subscribe and tune into it every single night. If you're watching us on X, drop a follow, drop a like, and even a comment if you want on X or on YouTube. It helps to spread the video even further when people comment. So if you want to drop a comment as well, even if it is a thumbs up or a thumbs down if you didn't like it. If you enjoyed this live, drop a follow, drop a like. And also, we have a Telegram group as well. By the way, everything I provide for 89 days back to back, I've been completely free, and I will always stay free as well, because I believe education should always remain free. And I also have a Telegram group as well. This live show has a Telegram, and it's called CMF, basically. So Crypto Mouse Family is what it stands for. It's completely free of source. Everybody's absolutely amazing. The link for that Telegram group is inside my profile on X, if you're watching us on X, or if you're on YouTube. If you're watching us on YouTube, definitely join Telegram group as well. Absolutely amazing people all around from the world. Great people. They're all inside the comment section as well, by the way. So if you enjoy this live, drop a follow, drop a like, and tune into it every single night. Before we go, let's go inside the comment section first. Obviously, let's go inside the comment section first. Like I said, a lot of people will be going to the doctor to get a medical certificates. They say they're unfit for the army. Most likely, yes. And when that comes into regulation for the US, a lot of people are going to be getting letters from the doctors, 100%. Why did BTC dip after China stopped mining? I would have thought less mining equals more scarcity, so price should go up. No, it was the issue of not only essentially banning mining, but they were banning cryptocurrencies and banning Bitcoin in general. And China was the biggest player for Bitcoin. Nobody else was backing them in terms of Bitcoin. I need to say night miles before I Ripple, see tomorrow as usual. And Shelly Facts recording the doctor certificate. It's like getting married, you gaining her / her family, his family too. Facts. Can I ask a simple question? Why you fools or this is Miles, absolutely fantastic. Night, very informative, and come on, England, 1-0. They can't tokenize the results. Miles, you're amazing. Thank you. Ripple, thanks so much for the kind words. Excellent presentation as always. Leroy, thank you so much for the kind words, brother. We appreciate you so much, Miles. Thank you. Stormy, thanks so much for the kind words as well. Carol, good night, Miles, the CMF. Carol, see you tomorrow, same time as usual. Miles, thanks, Miles. Lots of bullish news. Good night, everyone. See you tomorrow. Orphan, see you tomorrow, same time as usual. The truth is, we need a person like you to lead this country. Let's go, Ripper, for the kind words. Hey, family, hit the thumbs up button for Miles. Let's go, Troy. Thanks so much for the kind words as well. Love you, Miles. Ripple, thanks so much for the kind words. I will see everybody tomorrow, same timing as usual. Everybody have a great day or a good night, depending on where you are around the world. I'll see everybody tomorrow, same timing as usual. Everybody have a great day or good night, depending on where you are around the world. CMF, see you tomorrow, same time as usual. See you tomorrow, same time as usual. Everyone have a great day or good night, depending on where you're around.